Hello and hi, greetings, and indeed salutations. Welcome to my channel. I am going to be making my perfect Black Series Anakin Skywalker from Revenge of the Sith. Not perfect for me anyway, just doing what I need to do to make it how I want it for my display. And to do that, I'll be using a Phantom Menace Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I'm going to be Frankensteining the two, taking parts from each and creating a perfect combination. To do this custom, you'll need, of course, Archive Edition Anakin Skywalker, or the original, and a Phantom Menace Obi-Wan Kenobi. You also need a hairdryer, some hot water, a fork to get some of those pesky ball joints out, and some paper towels to keep your workstation dry. I'm going to start here by taking Anakin apart. The head came off pretty easily, it was meant to come off. And the rest of it, just heat it up with the hairdryer and get to work on it. For Obi-Wan Kenobi, it was a little more difficult. With Anakin, I was able to use just the hairdryer and get away with that. But for Obi-Wan, hot water is going to be your best friend. He is very difficult to take apart otherwise. And after some time in the hot water, he is primed and ready to be taken apart. I'm going to be taking him apart the same way I did Anakin, removing the lower half of the arm, splitting him in half, taking his head off, and also removing his legs. As you can see, I did not leave him in the water for long enough. So, back in the water he goes. So here on the right side of the screen is everything you'll need for your Anakin Skywalker. Aside from paints, of course. You need the head, upper torso, and complete left arm with hand. The right gloved hand of Anakin Skywalker. The lower tunic and cloth piece. The two legs from the thigh swivel down. As well as the waist assembly from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and of course the little neck connector. How can we forget the neck connector? Now getting into putting them together, it's actually pretty simple. For a lot of it, it actually doesn't require any heat at all. The arm goes in pretty easily, and so do the lower legs. It might feel like the holes in the thigh swivels are a little too big, but it does hold securely. Now getting to that pesky neck connector situation, as I mentioned earlier. The dumbbell joint here is slightly too long. So if you see, I did try dremeling out Anakin Skywalker's head a little bit to get it to sit up higher. But in fear of going through the head, I decided against that. I need the head to sit about right there. So in order to do that, I have decided to simply take my nippers and cut the smaller ball off. Now in doing that, you'll notice here how I decided to secure that was simply using shoe glue. Shoe glue is my favorite glue for using for these kinds of crafts. It works so well and it hardens and adheres very nicely. It's like a weld almost. Now as you can see here, I dipped the stem of the neck in there and I quickly kind of coated the inside of the neck with the glue. I decided I needed some more, so I took a toothpick and scraped it down and worked it into that hole to try and get as much as possible in there. So that way when I stick the stem of the neck connector in there, it hardens around it, creating a nice snug fit. Meanwhile, the ball at the base of the head still stays functional. Now as you can see here for the rest of the body, I need to cut off the upper part of this lower tunic. It is made specifically for the old Anakin body, but I needed to work with the new Anakin body. So to do that, I need to cut off that little bulbous top there. I started out with the nippers, and then after that used my X-Acto knife, or my scalpel, to slice the rest of it off. It was actually very satisfying. That plastic is nice and soft and cuts easy, so be careful when doing it, so that way you don't ruin the whole tunic piece. And also excuse my camera work with it focusing on my hand instead of the tunic. I am left-handed, so it is kind of hard to do this, and I realized that later on in the making of this video. But here's the tunic all complete, and you see it sits around the lower portion of the upper body very nicely, very snugly. And with the soft goods, it has no problem fitting against the waist. Now for paints. These are the paints that I'll be using. I also use titanium silver down the line. I forgot to put that in here, and I actually ended up not using leather brown, which is the first one in there. And first I'll start by painting the tunic. I removed the head here, and as you can see, I'm demonstrating how this whole thing works. I created like a channel with the glue that the stem just fits super snugly into. It's actually really nice how it ended up coming out. It retains full articulation just as it did before. Now getting to the painting, I'm going to start here with the light brown and basically painting everything. So here I have my plate, my water, and my paintbrushes. Taking the tunic off, I'm starting here with the upper tunic, painting everything brown except for what would be the robes in the front that would be black in the movie, the leather robes. I forget what they're called off the top of my head. Remind me down in the comments, please, if you will. So I just sit back and enjoy the painting. Right around here is when I realized how much my left hand was getting in the way. Sorry about that. Obviously I wasn't able to reshoot this. I am left-handed, and this is my first time doing anything like this on camera, so just be patient with me. But as you can see, later on I do end up fixing the camera angle. Now here's where I'm getting started with the black. The lower tunic's really easy. The only thing I'm repainting is the black itself. I'm just trying to make it more black, if you will. And also a little bit shinier, so to really give it that leather feel. And all I'm doing is touching up the edges and the front surface. I'm not doing the back. If it's rubbing the cloth, I'm not painting that part. And the whole belt pouches, while I do think the original wash was a little heavy from the factory, I don't feel like repainting the whole thing. To me, this is perfectly fine and it's suitable enough for my needs. Now, down the line, I did end up doing a lot of this off camera, and that's just because I need to be able to see and my hands are really shaky. So for the upper tunic and the silver buckles on his glove, You'll see that I start them on camera, not even actually, the black I completely forgot to film, I suppose. But after putting them together, there were some touch-ups I needed to do, some extra coats of brown and black that I need to put on. So after putting them together, I went off camera, went ahead and did that, and I punched in the silver details on camera initially, and then behind the camera did the rest of it. Now the silver paint that I am using for the gauntlet is X32 Titanium Silver by Tamiya. It's super nice, super pungent, but you have to make sure when you open it that you mix it, because the color does separate pretty quickly from the solution. As you can see here, I'm using my tiniest brush, and right there immediately made a mistake, put too much silver on there, and that's when I went off camera and did the rest of them, as well as fixed the top one to the best that I could. Again, I don't do this often enough, and I have shaky hands. Now the brown I enjoyed, but I feel like it was a little too light, so I went ahead and made a black wash using just generic black acrylic paint and some water, and I went ahead and filled in all of it to also bring out some of that cloth detail as well. And some of the black wash got on the leather bits, or what would be the leather bits, and toned down the shininess a bit in some parts, which I actually very much enjoyed and I'm very happy with. It is very hard to see right now with my bright lights and the glare from the wet paint, but at the end of the video you'll see that it actually turned out pretty nice. I'm pretty proud of how it came out, and I hope you guys enjoy the ending results. And with that, all that's left to do is put them back together. Thank you all for watching so much, I really appreciate it. And here we have Revenge of the Sith Anakin Skywalker with his mighty 501st. If you all could hit that subscribe button, leave a comment down below, like the video, dislike the video, whatever you want to do. I appreciate any feedback. Next video I will be posting a showcase of some other customs that I have that I didn't record. And with that, I'll see you all later.